The Grand Sovereign Hotel stood as a beacon of prestige in the heart of downtown. Known for its marble-clad lobby, crystal chandeliers, and impeccable service, it catered to dignitaries, celebrities, and the elite. At the helm of its operations was Lisa Caldwell, the hotel's manager, a sharp-eyed professional who believed the devil was in the detail. Every day, she strode through the lobby with purpose, inspecting every flower arrangement, ensuring every staff member adhered to the hotel's gold standard. For Lisa, excellence wasn't just a goal, it was the bare minimum. The morning started like any other. Guests bustled about the lobby, dragging designer luggage or sipping lattes from the cafe corner. Lisa moved efficiently, offering a quick smile here, a stern instruction there. Then, the lobby doors slid open, and in walked a man who immediately disrupted the carefully curated atmosphere she worked so hard to maintain. He was in his late 40s, tall and confident, wearing a crisp blazer, dark jeans, and a bright red MAGA hat. The hat practically screamed for attention, clashing with the elegant neutrality of the Grand Sovereign. Lisa's stomach tightened. She had no patience for overt displays of politics, especially in her sanctuary of luxury and refinement. From behind the reception desk, Lisa watched as the man removed his sunglasses and approached the counter. His movements were calm, measured, as though he belonged there. One of her receptionists, a young woman named Clarissa, greeted him with a nervous smile, clearly unsure of how to handle the situation. Lisa's gaze narrowed. She wasn't about to let some political statement disrupt the hotel's inclusive and welcoming environment. In her mind, the MAGA hat was a symbol that could spark discomfort or controversy among her diverse clientele. She couldn't allow that, not on her watch. "Clarissa, I'll take it from here," Lisa said smoothly as she stepped forward. Her tone was polite, but her expression betrayed her disapproval. The man turned to her with a friendly smile, extending a hand. "Good morning. I have a reservation under Michael Greer." Lisa ignored the handshake, her professional facade barely concealing her irritation. "Mr. Greer, I'm Lisa Caldwell, the hotel manager. May I ask if you'd consider removing your hat while in the lobby? We strive to maintain a neutral and welcoming environment for all our guests." Michael raised an eyebrow but kept his composure. "I see. Is my hat causing a problem?" Lisa folded her arms. "We have guests from all walks of life, and some might find it divisive. I'm simply asking for consideration." Michael's smile didn't waver. "Well, I appreciate your concern, but I think I'll keep it on. I trust the Grand Sovereign values all perspectives." Her jaw tightened. This wasn't going to be as simple as she thought, but Lisa Caldwell wasn't one to back down easily. Lisa's heels clicked sharply against the marble floor as she followed Michael Greer to the reception desk. The man exuded an irritating sense of ease, as if he were immune to the subtle tensions simmering around him. To Lisa, his nonchalance was infuriating. She was the gatekeeper of the Grand Sovereign's impeccable reputation, and she wasn't about to let some provocative political statement jeopardize the hotel's sacred neutrality. Michael leaned casually against the counter, holding up his phone to display his reservation email. "Here's my confirmation," he said, his tone polite but firm. "I believe everything's in order." Lisa didn't bother looking at the screen. Instead, she clasped her hands in front of her, projecting an air of composed authority. "Mr. Greer, while your reservation appears valid, the Grand Sovereign reserves the right to deny service in situations that could potentially disrupt the comfort and safety of our guests." Michael's brow furrowed slightly, though his calm demeanor remained intact. "I'm curious. What about me is disruptive? I'm just here for a peaceful stay." Lisa's gaze flicked to the hat perched prominently on his head. "Your choice of attire has the potential to create discomfort among our guests. We prioritize inclusivity and a harmonious environment." Michael straightened, his expression unreadable. "You're saying my hat, a personal item that reflects my beliefs, violates some kind of policy? Or is it just your opinion?" Lisa felt a prickle of unease, but pushed it aside. "As the manager, it's my responsibility to ensure a welcoming space for everyone. If you're unwilling to comply with our standards, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave." A few guests in the lobby glanced over, sensing the tension. Behind the counter, Clarissa shifted uncomfortably, shooting Lisa a warning look. "Mrs. Caldwell," she murmured softly. "Maybe we should check with legal or—" Lisa cut her off with a sharp gesture. She had no patience for dissent, especially not from her own staff. Michael sighed, shaking his head. So let me get this straight. You're refusing to check me in because of a hat? I've paid for my stay, I've followed all your policies, and yet you're discriminating against me based on assumptions about who I am? Lisa's patience snapped. This isn't discrimination, Mr. Greer. It's about maintaining the standards of this establishment. She signaled to the hotel's security team, who had been observing the exchange from a discreet distance. Please escort Mr. Greer off the premises, Lisa ordered. Michael stood his ground, unflinching as the guards approached. You're making a mistake, he said quietly, his voice tinged with something Lisa couldn't quite place. Disappointment? Amusement? But she didn't waver. As Michael was escorted out, Lisa allowed herself a small, victorious smile. She had upheld the integrity of the Grand Sovereign, no matter the cost. Yet, as her staff whispered behind her and the subdued murmurs of onlookers filled the lobby, a sliver of doubt crept into her mind. For the first time, Lisa wondered if she had gone too far. The morning after the incident, Lisa walked into the Grand Sovereign's lobby with her usual confidence, but the atmosphere felt off. Staff whispered behind counters, glanced at their phones, and exchanged uneasy looks. Lisa frowned but dismissed it. She had handled the situation with Michael Greer decisively. Holding the hotel standards was more important than sparing feelings. It wasn't until she reached her office that she realized the storm she had unleashed. Clarissa was waiting for her, phone in hand, her face pale. Lisa, have you seen this? She asked hesitantly. What is it? Lisa snapped, brushing past her to set down her bag. Clarissa held up her phone, displaying a grainy video of the previous day's confrontation. The footage captured Lisa refusing Michael's reservation, her clipped tone unmistakable, and ended with security escorting him out. The video had been uploaded to multiple social media platforms, racking up thousands of views overnight. Lisa's stomach sank as she read the captions. Hotel manager refuses service to MAGA hat-wearing guest. Discrimination or professionalism? Political bias and hospitality? Grand Sovereign faces backlash after viral video. The comments were a mix of outrage and debate, with accusations of political discrimination and poor customer service dominating the conversation. This is ridiculous, Lisa muttered, scrolling through the comments. They're blowing this out of proportion. It's everywhere, Clarissa said softly. People are calling for boycotts. Guests are canceling reservations. Lisa straightened, masking her unease. We did the right thing. That man's presence could have disrupted the atmosphere for everyone else. I was protecting the hotel's reputation. Clarissa didn't argue, but the doubt in her eyes was evident. The day only got worse. By midday, Lisa was summoned to a conference call with upper management. The team's questions were pointed and relentless. Lisa, one executive began, we're facing significant backlash. This video has gone viral and it's damaging the Grand Sovereign's brand. I acted in the hotel's best interest, Lisa replied firmly. I was ensuring our guests felt comfortable and safe. His hat was a provocation and I made a judgment call. And yet, it seems the public doesn't agree, another executive countered. This is being framed as political discrimination. Lisa's frustration flared. With all due respect, it's not discrimination to uphold our standards. That man's behavior... Did he actually behave disruptively? The executive interrupted. Or was it just his hat? Lisa faltered, her defenses weakening. As the call ended, Lisa received one final warning. The board is meeting tomorrow. Be prepared to explain your actions and their consequences. For the first time, Lisa felt the full weight of her decision. She had stood by her principles, but at what cost? And why had Michael remained silent through all of this? The questions gnawed at her as she stared out the window of her office, the vibrant city below offering no comfort. Lisa walked into the Grand Sovereign's boardroom, her heels clicking against the polished hardwood floor. The weight of the situation bore down on her, but she squared her shoulders, determined to defend her actions. The room was filled with familiar faces. The hotel's senior management team and the board of directors, all seated around a massive table. At the head sat the chairman, his expression grave. "Hi, Mr. Caldwell," he began as she took her seat. "Thank you for joining us. We have a lot to discuss." Lisa nodded, her demeanor poised. I understand there's been some backlash over my decision yesterday, but I stand by my actions. The guest's choice of attire risked alienating other patrons. I acted in the hotel's best interest." A murmur passed through the room, but the chairman raised his hand to silence it. "Before we proceed, there's something you should know about the guest in question." Lisa's confidence faltered slightly as the chairman continued. "The man you refused to check in, Michael Greer, is not an ordinary guest. He is a billionaire philanthropist and one of the most influential investors in the hospitality industry." Lisa's breath caught. She struggled to mask her shock. The chairman pressed on. "What you didn't know, Ms. Caldwell, is that Mr. Greer has been in negotiations to acquire the Grand Sovereign as part of his investment portfolio. His visit yesterday was meant to be a discreet evaluation of our staff and service standards before finalizing the deal." Lisa felt the blood drain from her face. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. A board member chimed in, his tone pointed. "Your actions not only fail to uphold the standards of impartiality and exceptional service we pride ourselves on, but also directly jeopardized one of the most significant business opportunities this hotel has ever had." Lisa's mind raced. She had thought she was protecting the hotel's reputation, but instead she had become its biggest liability. "Mr. Greer has informed us that he will still proceed with the acquisition," the chairman said, his tone cold. "But he has also made it clear that he expects changes to ensure such incidents never happen again." The room fell silent as the chairman leaned forward, his gaze piercing. "Ms. Caldwell, you have two choices. You can resign immediately and avoid further damage to your career, or you can face termination effective today." Lisa's heart pounded. She had always prided herself on her professionalism, her ability to lead, but in one moment of bias she had unraveled everything she had worked for. After a long pause, she finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'll resign." The chairman nodded curtly. "You have until the end of the day to clear out your office." As Lisa walked out of the boardroom, the realization of her downfall hit her like a tidal wave. She had judged a man not by his actions, but by a symbol, and in doing so, she had lost everything. Lisa packed up her office in silence, the weight of her resignation settling heavily on her shoulders. The pristine, organized space that had once reflected her pride and ambition now felt cold and empty. Each item she placed into a box reminded her of the years she had devoted to the Grand Sovereign and how quickly it had all unraveled. As she walked through the lobby one last time, the staff avoided her gaze. A few murmured quiet goodbyes, but most were too nervous to approach her. Lisa kept her head high, though the sting of disgrace burned deep. The revolving doors closed behind her with a finality that made her heart sink. Over the following weeks, Lisa struggled to reconcile what had happened. She told herself she had acted in the hotel's best interest, but deep down, she knew the truth. She had let her biases and assumptions cloud her judgment, and it had cost her everything. Meanwhile, the Grand Sovereign launched a full-scale public relations campaign to repair the damage caused by the incident. Michael Greer, now the owner, issued a statement emphasizing the hotel's commitment to inclusivity and excellence. He spearheaded a new staff training program on diversity, tolerance, and professionalism, ensuring that such incidents would never happen again. Months later, Lisa stumbled upon an interview with Michael on a late-night news program. Sitting in a tailored suit, he spoke with the same calm authority she remembered. "We all have moments where we let assumptions dictate our actions," Michael said. "But those moments can teach us valuable lessons about humility, about understanding, and about the power of treating others with respect, regardless of our personal beliefs." Lisa felt a pang of regret, but also a spark of determination. Michael's words resonated deeply. She realized that she couldn't undo the past, but she could choose how to move forward. With a renewed sense of purpose, Lisa decided to rebuild her career. She enrolled in leadership and diversity training programs, eager to learn and grow. She started volunteering with organizations that promoted dialogue and understanding between people of different backgrounds. Months turned into years, and Lisa began to see the fruits of her efforts. She rebuilt her reputation, not as a manager, but as a mentor, teaching others the importance of empathy and humility. The experience had humbled her, but it had also made her stronger. Lisa's journey became a testament to the power of second chances and the value of treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their beliefs. As she watched another interview with Michael years later, this time about the grand sovereign's success, Lisa smiled. She had made mistakes, but she had also found redemption. And in the end, that was what mattered most.